Guys, is it clear?
It's not clear.
Yes.
It's not clear.
Now it's clear.
Okay, so it's fine. I'll just quickly read it there in the group. So I was saying points, points A being -1 and -4, and B being 3 and 4 lie on the graph J. The two graphs intersect at point C and D. Okay, a line BE is drawn parallel to the y-axis with E on F. Maybe I might need to quickly draw that. This is how you redraw a drawn function or functions. You start with the x and the y-axis. Then you can just do maybe a straight line similar to that. And then what comes after it is that. And then from there, this is what you can do. That one, and obviously that one also. Then you have a point, they say it's point C, and then you also have a point there being point A, -1 and -4. So that's how you quickly redraw, and then make sure to add those letters there, and then you have that dotted one. From there to then they say this one, it is B, which is 3 and 4, and then you have this one being E. E is that point there, and then you have that being the origin. Most importantly, that one, it's a straight line, it's G, and then this one is F. That's how you quickly redraw the given information there. So now the question says, show that A is equals to 2, and then Q is equals to -2. Something that I know is that Q, it's actually an equation of an asymptote. I'm not sure if I'm the only one who's able to notice that. Guys, okay, I just noticed something. I've drawn this function by hand, so there's actually the level of accuracy of this function is not as the one there. So that is why I'm making this mistake by focusing on what I've drawn there. Maybe let's say this. What type of a function is that? Is it not a straight line? If it is a straight line, that means what we know is that we have A mx plus c as our standard formula for a straight line. So that means actually in this case, instead of using m, they used a. And then here, instead of c, they used q. But what you know is that a is the gradient, and this is how you calculate the gradient. Y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What is y2? Is it not 4? What is y1? Is it not inside the brackets -4 over what is x2? Is it not 3 minus into negative that? Then what is this? I think the one at the top, it gives you 8. The one at the bottom, it gives you 4. What is that divided by that? Is it not 2? I think it's 2. So that's how you've shown that that is 2. So that means you're having y, which is equals to, you know your gradient is 2x plus q. So for you to determine this q, you choose any coordinate that you like. You can use the coordinate of A or B, but in most cases, avoid using the ones that has negative. So that is why I'm going to say this one of B, because it has positive values. I won't go wrong with positive values. So where you see X, you substitute that. Where you see Y, you substitute that. So now that means you're going to have 4, 2, what is it? What is X? X, it is 3 plus q. Then you have 4, which is, what is this times that? Is it not 6? I think it's 6 q. So can you see, if you take this to the other side, you have 4 minus that, which is that. So that means -2 is equals to q. That's how you easily score yourself 2 marks. Imagine, only 2 marks. Only 2 marks for such a work. So they are not giving you marks for calculations because they know we have taught you how to calculate this type of problems. You are only given marks for thinking or for knowing. And for you to know, it doesn't come through you just knowing. You need to attend as many lessons as possible. So this is a secret, Molebogeng. Even if you did not manage to show that A, it is that, and that, it is that. Just update here and just put 2 there. And then here, put -2 so that you'll be able to successfully answer the next questions. Don't say because you failed to show, then it means you can't proceed. So we are having that, we are having -1 there. I know what honorable members
Ask
are about
while
to say.
you are there.
Sorry.
Can I ask you a question while you are there?
Maybe Hamisa. Okay, go for it first.
Question is this recording, because I have a geography class starting now, can I leave?
Oh, geography. Yes. All the grade 12s, you are welcome to leave this lesson and attend your geography lesson. The lesson is being recorded and it's going to be posted tomorrow. Then you can catch it up. I think when is tomorrow? Tomorrow
Sorry,
is.
sir, to disturb. Do we have life sciences grade 12 today?
No, it's geography today. It's geography.
Okay,
So life
thank you, sir.
sciences will be next week. So it's this week geography, next week that, next week that. So they alternate. So all the grade 12s who are doing geography, you can attend in the grade 12 classroom. So I'll record this lesson. You'll catch up in case if you have questions, then we'll address those in tomorrow's lesson. Moleboge, I'm still here, honorable member.
Yes, I wanted to ask something because it's my problem. So when you are solving, is it necessary to write those steps, or you can only write the answer only?
Hey.
It's my sickness, so the answer I'm asking.
Yo. That is corruption, honorable member. I'm not sure how to explain it. That is corruption in mathematics. So it's
I
more
must
like,
write the.
yes, you have to show those steps because otherwise, if you don't show, it's more like the question said, write that what is it? A is equals to 2 and write that Q is equals to -2. Can you see? You haven't shown, but you have just written what they gave you. So they are actually trying to say, prove that.
Okay, no, I get you now.
Yes, that is why I'm saying that is corruption, honorable member. I'm pretty much sure that you fully understand what I'm trying to say there.
No,
It's
I get
exactly
you.
that. Yes. It's unfortunate Hamisa is out, but she was going to complete the missing words, which is, you get it. If you don't get it, yeah, no, Hamisa is out. She was going to say, you forget about it. Okay, so now on to the next question. Let's see. 5.2, they say determine the value. No, the values. Hey, guys, that S, it's very, very much. Okay, determine the values of X for which f of X is equals to g of X. The values Bantu bakit. This S, it means you're going to have more than one possible answers. But this type of questions are easy. They look difficult, but they are easy. Why are they easy? It's because already they are saying equate f of x with g of x and solve for x values. What is f of x? Is it not 1 over x minus 1? Then you just equate it to 2x minus 2. That's it. This is where you will need lowest common denominator, grade 10 stuff. If you don't know about the lowest common denominator, then you are in trouble. You may be in grade 12 and say you want to do grade 12 stuff, but this is where you are in trouble. How do you work that out? You want to try and remove that fraction. How can you remove it? You just multiply everything by x. So that means you're going to multiply this thing by x. Then that x is going to cancel with this one. You just have 1. You multiply this by x is going to be negative 1x. You multiply this by x is going to be 2x squared. You multiply that by x is going to be negative 2x. So can you see? You can rewrite this thing in a standard form because you see that it's a quadratic equation. So that means you can say 0 is equals to 2x squared minus, if you take this to the other side, it changes the sign. It becomes negative 2x plus x, which is a negative x. You take this to the other side, it becomes negative 1. I think I'm doing it correctly there. So what you now need to do is to factorize that. Again, grade 10 stuff. And you know very well that in case if you're not able to factorize that, what you can do is to use that quadratic formula, which says fraction button minus a, what is our b? Our b, it's negative 1 plus square root of b squared minus a, what is it, minus 4a, a being 2, c being negative 1, over 2 into our a being 2. Then you get 1. So that means on the other fraction, you're going to get a x minus 1. You go there, you edit that, you put a negative or a minus there, then you get negative half there. That means it's going to be 2x plus 1 there. So those answers that you got there are your final answers. You got negative half, and then the other one, you got 1. So can you guys see at this stage, at this stage, Ayanda, I'm not teaching you how to solve because we have done that. I'm only training you on how to answer this type of questions where they say when that is equals to that, what do you do in that case? We are not at a stage where you guys learn how to solve. We have passed that stage. But guess what? Someone in grade 12 was saying we are doing easy stuff. They know those. They've done them. We're repeating what they know and everything. It gets complicated when you have to do that. If you don't know how to deal with this type of equations. So just make sure that you pay full attention to everything. So I'm not sure. Anyone who's got a question there, Bantu Bakit? Before I move on to the next question.
Sorry, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, how did we get our negative 1 over 2?
You get it from factorizing that, honorable member.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. I think it's Matapelo there. Matapelo.
Say, I was saying, mon open bracket 2x plus 1 into x minus 1 is equals to 1 over 2, which means Richeri, which means Richeri 1 right vertical 2 all.
Okay. What we did, maybe let me start from Mbali. So Mbali, we factorized there's a reason why I just said we factorized, but I'm not showing you how I factorized. It's because that lesson is there where we do factorization. Then, let's see, this one that honorable member is talking about, I also skipped it on purpose because at this stage, it's more like we are now on another level, but this is how you work it out. Maybe let me simultaneously cover you. To factorize, you can use this equation which says negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, where you have your a, b, and c. You punch in there, then what you get are the final answers, which is the negative half and that 1. So that's how you factorize a quadratic equation. That was a very short and quick explanation. Not showing you how, but telling you what you do. So obviously, you equate this to 0. You're going to have, let's say, 2x plus 1 is equals to 0. You take this to the other side, it becomes negative 1, which is equals to 2x. Then you divide both sides by 2, and then that cancels. You end up having negative that. So you equate that to 0. It doesn't matter, if you have 0 on this side. But what you do is that you take this to the other side. It's more like you have 1, which is equals to x. It is the same as x is equals to 1. Same applies there. Honorable members, are you answered? I'm saying we are going to deliver water in 2050. No, not 2015, but 2025. Are you answered, comrades?
Yes, sir.
Why is it like comrades want to strike? Okay, I got a yes there. Let me remove all of this, but maybe let me explain something there. So what does f of x equals to that mean, and what do these values mean? So they are saying calculate the values of x whereby the graph of f of x is equals to that. Where they are equal, that's where they touch. Where are those points? Do you guys agree with me that this is a point where f touches with that? This is a point where they are equal, and at that point this is the x value. So that means at point D, x is 1. And then we still have this negative 1. Where is this negative 1? It's at that point. Why this point? Because that is where that and also a straight line touch. So that means the x value there, it's actually negative 1 over 2. So it's more like we already know that this c value, remember on the question they said this point is point C. We already know that c, it's already negative that as x. We just don't know what the y value is. But if you want to calculate the y value, it's easy because you just substitute either on that or on this one. So guys, it's not our last time doing this type of questions. We will be doing some more, so don't worry that much if it feels like you are lost. But take my advice, catch up from the beginning, which is where we started. For example, where I post this lesson, you will see that, okay, this is the start of functions. You start from there. This is the start of solving for x, simultaneous parts, expressions, and whatever. You start from there. So now they say calculate the length of BE. BE, it's more like it's from there up to there. So they just want this y value and that y value. If you can find the y values of those, you can easily be able to determine that length. So the question is, how do you find those values? How do you get this y value? That is the question, guys. How can you get that y value? Someone can say, I can use equation of that straight line because I know that's where x, it is what? x it is 3. Let me quickly confirm something. Yes, at this point, that's where x it is 3 and then y it is 4. So that means we have the distance from there up to there being 4. What we need to do is to get the distance from there up to there. Then we can add this length and that length. That's how we move from point B to point E. I'm pretty much sure that it might not make sense to everyone, but let me ask, are you guys being confused by what I'm trying to explain there? Guys.
So I have a question. Is it that like whenever we are calculating a distance from a straight line, we must always use the distance formula, or is it when calculating all other functions?
A very good question there. She's asking, can we use the distance formula? This is the formula. It says, I think, what is it? Is square root of x2, is it minus x1 you squared and then you plus that minus that? No, not squared inside. This is the formula for this is correct, ne? The formula for calculating the distance. But always, when you need to use this formula, that's if you have two coordinates or 2 points. But in this case, we only have point B. You don't know what are the coordinates for point E. That is why you can't use that point. So this is what I'm going to do. I will try to explain differently. Someone was saying something there. Okay, let's say we have point A and then we also have point B. And let's say that point there, it is 1, and this point there, it is 4. And they say, what is the length of AB? Would you guys agree with me that the length of AB or BA, it's actually from what is it? It's actually from there being 4 up to here, and you minus that length. If you minus it, then you will remain with that. I'm not sure if you guys agree with me on that one. So that means the length of AB, it's actually 4 being that, and then you minus that being 1. So you're going to have 3. So that means from there to there, it's equals to 3. But let's say you had a point being C and another point being D. Do you guys agree with me that, let's say maybe this is -2. Would you guys agree with me that the length from C to D, it's actually going to be what is from this point up to there? Is it not 4? Yes, it's 4. What is the distance from there up to there? What is it? Is it not 2? It's 2. So what is the distance from there to there? It's 4 plus 2, which is equals to what? Which is equals to 6. So when it comes to the distance, you forget about the negative. We just want to know, if you had to walk, if you had to walk from that point to that point, how long are you going to walk? You're going to walk 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. So that means you walked 2 units and 4 units. In total, it's 6 units. So Under functions, it's in most cases where you don't use this formula, but you use other techniques. It's only when it gets to analytical geometry where you use this equation, honorable member. I'm not sure if it now makes sense, guys. Do you get my point now, or it still doesn't make sense before I explain that question there?
So to understand you, basically you are saying that our by is 4, right? And our asymptote
Yes.
is I think it's -1, right? So we can
If
say
it was
that
let's say
4,
if it was -1, then continue.
okay, it was -1, and then we're gonna say 4 minus 1, then we get from the value of E, the distance of E.
Okay. Remember, we don't consider the negative sign.
So
Voiswa, maybe let me quickly clear this one. That's if we assume that that was -1. I just want you to understand something. It's not -1, but assuming that it was -1, then it means it was going to be from there up to there. So what I'm saying, honorable member, is that you have 4. Even though this is -1, in terms of distance, you forget that negative, you say 1. That is why I was saying, if you had to walk from that point being B to this point being E, you are going to walk 4 units at another 1 unit. In total is 5 units. If you say 4 minus 1, it gives you 3. And to walk from there to there, it's not 3 units. That's if that point was -1, but it is not -1. -1 is that asymptote, but point E is not on asymptote, it's slightly above asymptote. So you can already see that from there up to there, it's already 4 units because of that 4. Then you just need that extra small distance, obviously, which is less than 1, in order to say it's 4 plus that smaller distance. Then that's how you get a length or distance of BE. Does it make sense, Kwazi, before I allow Voiswa
It
to
makes
speak?
sense now, sir. It makes sense
Okay,
now, sir.
Voiswa, what were you saying?
I was saying, okay, I don't understand what you just did, but I was saying that since the the x value of b is 3, right? Wouldn't the e value also be 3 because it's on like the same line, if you know what I mean?
100%, 100%, honorable member. This is what I was about to do. So this is what honorable member is saying. Can you guys see that this is a vertical line? So this B being 3, it actually means this is that 3 there. So that means for E, X it's already 3. We just don't know what Y is. That is why we can't use the distance formula, because we only know those, and we only know is 3, but we don't know the Y value, so we won't be able to substitute. But what you do in this case, you ask yourself, if we know that our what is it, our X value is 3, you substitute it on a function where that point E is. Maybe let me say a point E, is it on f of x or is it on g of x? point E, is it on f of x or g of x?
On
X.
Yes, it's on f of x. So that means you must use f of x to know the y value. That is why on this equation of f of x, where I see x, I put the x value. What is the x value? Is 3. Then when you punch that, what are you getting? You get a 1 over 3 minus 1. You get negative 2 over 3. So let's also ask ourselves the same question just to verify something. That point B, is it on g of x or f of x?
G of x.
On g of x. What is x on g of x is 3. So if you say where you see x, you put 3, then you calculate the y value. It's going to give you what the, so that times that is 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. So that means from here going all the way up to B, it's equals to 4 units. Then quasi from the origin again, or from there going down, this is where at that point x is negative 2 over 3. Yes, but you are not concerned about the negative because we talk about the distance. That means you are only concerned about 2 over 3 units. So that is why distance from there all the way up to there, it is going to be 4 units plus 2 over 3 units. Whatever that you get is the distance from B to E. Does it make sense now, Bantu Bakiti?
Yes, it does.
So 4 plus 2 over 3, I think it's 14 over 3. So you just say BE, it's equals to 14 over 3. But remember, no corruption. Moleboge, do you know how corruption comes in these cases? That's when you copy. Because someone can just say BE is equals to 14 over 3. Waze kanjani? Waze kanjani without you showing all of those. That's how we know that
Sorry.
you borrowed it next door. Voiswa, is that a question coming through?
Yes, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I was asking, why did you substitute the 3 into the g of x formula?
So that was me trying to verify that indeed the corresponding y value where x is 3, it's actually 4. So that was me just trying to prove that where x is 3, at that point where the graph is g, this is the corresponding y value. So it's either you had to calculate it or not, but this one is a must. You had to calculate it because you don't know what that value is. You just know that here you're having negative 2 over 3. No, not negative 2 over 3, but you are having 3, which is that 3. It's only this that you don't know what it is. Let me try to re-explain this differently so that it will make sense. So let me do this. This is the y-axis. This is the that. This is what happens, guys. If you have a point which says 4 and let's say 3, this means x and y at that point. So that means straight here is that being 4. Straight here is what? Is 3. If you have a point being somewhere there and they are saying this point being B, it's actually negative 1 and a y value, and they don't tell you what the y value is. That means you already know that straight down to the x value, this is -1, is that x there. The y you don't know. If you want to know the y, you ask yourself, what is that function? Okay, let's say it's f of x. Then what is the equation for f? If they say f of x is equals to 1 is equals to 2x squared, maybe plus 2 or whatever, then it means for you to know this y value, you need to take that x value and substitute it on the graph of f, because this point is on the graph of f. Then when you punch that 2 into -1 squared plus 2, the answer that you get, it is the y value at that point. So that is why I was saying I used the same principle, because I know straight down there it is x. But there, what is it? If I want to know, I use equation for g, because that point is on equation of g. Then I substitute, and after substitute, the y value that I get with the final answer, it was 4. Then it confirms that indeed where x is 3, the corresponding y value is 4. I'm not sure. Does it make sense, guys? Quasi, did it make sense?
It did make sense. It made sense.
Okay, so last question being 5.1, they say write down an equation of h. Somehow they like squeezing h for some reason. H of x, no, h, if h of x is equals to f of x plus 3. So here they never talked about h of x. They just squeezed h of x now. So this is what you do, Mulebogang. Do you know the equation of f of x?
Yes.
Yes, it's 1 over x minus 1. Can you
1.
see? You just substitute
Yes.
it there. Then you just plus it by 3, and then you solve. So that means you have invisible 1 by that, then it's 1 over x minus 1 plus 3. You have the like terms there that you can work out. So it's more like you have that. What is that? Is it not 2? That is 2. That's how you work it out. You are done. I'm not sure if it makes sense, honorable member. That is why it's allocated 1 mark. So I'm pretty much sure that most of you guys, you've been dealing with f and x. All of a Sunday, they're talking about h. Don't get confused by an intruder or a visitor. They are just there to give you a free 1 mark. All you do, can you see, if they said h, if h of x is equals to g of x plus 3, then it means you're going to substitute equation of g of x there, and then you simplify. I'm not sure, Vuiswa, if you understand what I'm explaining there.
Yes, sir, I get it.
That's all that you guys needed to be aware of regarding today's lesson. This is what I'm going to say. You don't leave it here, Mzozozo. The lesson might be done, but you shouldn't be done. Just make sure that you take your time, catch up on this two. It's going to be 2 lessons, because for some reason I went out and now I'm back. So I had to also record this one. So it's going to be part 1 and part 2, just like yesterday's lesson. So make sure to catch up on both, repeating the same thing. Don't bother yourself about something else. Redo exactly what we have done. Do it multiple times until you understand just this one. I'm telling you, when we move on to more complicated stuff, that's when you'll have a better understanding, because you'll be knowing what is meant by calculating a distance. How can you calculate a distance? The corresponding y value when x is given, determining an equation, whatever and whatever. Our visitor there, if our visitor is being introduced, you will know how to react. So guys, that's how you learn. Even myself, you don't just out of the blue know all of those. You study and study and study and study. And the trick is you knowing how to study. How do you study? Repeat what has been explained to you until you understand it. You won't explain it in just one lesson. If you do, you are lucky. It means you are ready to move on to the next part of the lesson. But if you don't, repeat the same problem. Repeat the same problem. Exactly what we have done. Try to redo it until you get to a point where you now understand why you are doing what you are doing. I'm telling you, upcoming questions will be exactly the same thing but asked differently. And again, Moleboge, with functions, we are not at a stage where we are teaching you how to solve whatever, for example, how to factorize. When that goes to the other side, it transposes and what. That is why in grade 12, 11, they will say they taught you those in grade 10. That's what they mean. The main focus under function is to guide you in terms of when a question comes in this way, this is what you do. When they say, what is this? This is what you do. So for me, Larissa, when I was in 11 or 12, I wasn't practicing functions like this. I'll just take a question paper and look at it and just read out the question and know that, okay, if they say this, this is what I must do. Next question, okay, the previous question will help me to answer this question. Third question, this question, okay, they're asking about maximum. I focus on the turning point. And that's how you prepare for functions. But the moment you start seeing yourself trying to work it out, just know you are not confident with solving equations. So that is why I try to encourage everyone to attend all those lessons. It's unfortunate some were saying they already know those. But it is at this stage where you notice that they still need to catch up. So it's a good thing for you to ask such questions and I clarify what the problem could be. The other problem is that some learners, they struggle and don't know where their struggle starts. So it starts where I started. That's where you need to start, catch up, and then you get to this stage. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm just going to sign out. This is me trying to run away. I'm not sure if there's someone who wants to stop me before I run away. Can I run away?
You are free to run away.
Yes, sir.
Hey, it seems like Alex ufune ukumbamba inkunzi outing baleg. Bantu bakithi. My name is Desmond. Thanks very much for joining. You guys have a very good night. And I'm out. Heaven, lesson if edile, lesa emetse bantu bakithi.